What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Mimighoul deck. Now, Mimighoul is I wouldn't say it's a new archetype, but it came out last year, and it's a pretty fun and interesting archetype. I guess you could say it's the only flip archetype that's actually been even close to meta relevant since like forever. Because yes, this is a flip archetype. All the monsters outside of Master are flip monsters, but the way the deck functions is just really good. And it's really consistent and is even seen competitive play. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, I play 3 Mimighoul Dragon. Dragon is one of your best Mimighouls. Now, all the Mimighouls have an effect to where they can special summon themselves face down to your opponent's field. And when they're flipped face up, they gain one of 2 effects, or 3 in the case of Archfiend. All of them have the effect that when they're flipped up, change control to your opponent. So what you want to do, for example, is special this to your opponent's field, activate an effect that will flip the face up, which will allow it to go back to your field. Now Dragon, when it's flipped face up, also has the additional effect to destroy all face up monsters you control except Mimighoul monsters. And the cool thing, since this is on your opponent's field, is if this flip face up on your opponent's field and they have like monsters up, this is just gonna turn into a Raigeki for everything except Mimighoul. Dragon also has an effect when it's normal special summon, you can add a Mimighoul spell trap. So Dragon just does a whole lot. Next, I play 3 Archfiend. Archfiend is pretty cool. It has the effect when it's during your turn, you can target one face down monster and flip it face up. So that's a way to trigger the Mimighoul's effect. So like, let's say you use Dragon, you set to your opponent's field, then you use the Archfiend effect, then you can flip the Dragon up, which will trigger its effect to blow up your opponent's board. And it will also go back to your field. Though in this case, you kind of want to do it the other way around. You'd rather give Archfiend to your opponent. Because Archfiend has the effect to your opponent draws 1 card, and then the controller sends 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Then you transfer control. So this is activating while it's in your opponent's field. So you set this to your opponent's field, you flip it face up, it'll trigger the effects in the sequence, you'll draw a card, your opponent will have to discard a card, and then you take control of Archfiend. Also run 2 Mimighoul Fairy. Fairy's pretty cool. It has an effect that if you control a Mimighoul monster, you can special summon from the hand. Additionally, when it's flipped, this turn you cannot activate the effects of monsters special summon from your hand, and that's for your opponent. Then you also gain control of Fairy. The rest of the Mimighouls are 1-ups. We're on the 1 slime, which is pretty solid actually. So if this flips face up, your opponent special summons 1 Mimighoul monster from their deck to the field. So basically, we will be summoning a monster from our deck. Then you take control of it. The 1 Cerberus. Cerberus banish the top 3 cards of your deck. Then you can special summon 1 of your banished monsters to your opponent's field in defense position. Now it's being summoned to your field, not your opponent's. It's really hard to kind of like do a deck profile of this because all these effects are effects that your opponent is giving to you, so it's kind of weird. So all these effects that if you're thinking that you're getting these effects, no, your opponent's giving them to you. So your opponent's discarding a card, your opponent's field is getting blown up, your opponent's having to banish 3. Also running 1 Armor. I'd say Armor is probably the weakest of all the Mimighouls. So for this one, Mimighoul monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. Not really a benefit, but you mainly want it more so just for the name. Next, you're on 1 Mimighoul Master. Mimighoul Master is very important. However, because of Throne, we only need to run 1 copy of it because the Mimighoul Throne specials the Master from deck or hand. And they can also special summon from the graveyard too. So Master has if this is normal special summon, you can add 1 Mimighoul monster from your deck to your hand. Except Master during your opponent's turn, or during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can change 1 face down monster on the field to face up, attack, or defense position. So basically, let's say you have Dragon on face down in the field. Use Master on your turn, on your opponent's turn, which will flip Dragon up on their turn, which will destroy all their monsters. For hand traps, I run 3 Ash and 3 Ogre. Moving on to the spells and traps. Mimighoul has some pretty good spells and traps. We run 2 copies, or not 2, we run 3 copies of Mimighoul Maker. Maker is really good, so basically you take 2 Mimighouls with different names. Your opponent randomly picks 1 for them to set to your field, and the other gets added to your hand. Most of the times you're going to use Dragon or Archfiend, because whichever one you get, it's going to be very good. And additionally, the one you add to your hand, you can special summon to the field. It's got an additional effect where you can banish this card from the graveyard, target 1 face down monster your opponent controls, change its face up attack and defense position. Next, I run 3 of the field spell, Mimighoul Dungeon. Dungeon has sort of a floodgate effect, and as Mimighoul, well, if your opponent controls a face down monster, your opponent cannot normal summon monsters or declare an attack with monsters that were special summoned from this turn. Now, against some decks, it doesn't really do much. I'd say the only deck that this hard counters is Flunderies, because that deck revolves around normal summoning. Since it prevents you from normal summoning, it's a tough matchup, and I know from experience because I was playing Flunderies, and I faced off against Mimighoul deck, and it was painful. But additionally, Dungeon has a once per turn, well, hard ones per turn, to where you can search one Mimighoul monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Also run the one Terraforming. I run 2 copies of Charm. Charm is a pretty cool card. I think a lot of people don't run it. I see some people run like Fork over it, but I'm not exactly, I don't like Fork too much because when is it really gonna pay off? But Charm has a cool effect that once per chain during maze phase, if a Mimighoul monster your opponent controls is flipped face up, you can randomly choose one face down card in your opponent's extra deck. If it is a monster that can be special summoned it to your field, which is really cool. So not only that can I take out maybe a monster that is going to be a combo extender or a starter or something like that. Like let's say you're going against Ryziel, for example, and you take the duo drive or the detonator. Now I don't know if they play 1 or 2, so if they play 1 or 2 that won't make much of a difference, but for one-ofs it's going to hurt a lot more. And this is the once per chain, not a once per turn. So that's definitely very useful. Like you can end up taking 2-3 monsters maybe. And the cool thing is you can just use them for your own like Link summons. Next, I run 2 thrusts and 2 talents. If your opponent hand traps you, then have that extra draw power or thrust to grab the maker or terraforming or even the room. It's going to be very helpful. Currently 1/1/1. They're mostly level 1, so 1 prosperity, 1 combo wave, because you really don't want to get hand trapped, but if you do, you have the thrust and talent. Moving on to the traps. I play 3 copies of the Mimighoul Room. So a room, you can special summon 1 Mimighoul monster from hand or deck to your field in face down defense position or to your opponent's field. So it can be summoned to your field or your opponent's field, but most oftentimes you're going to be doing it to your opponent's field, because then you'll use the master that's still on field to trigger and flip it face up, and additionally it allows you to flip face down one of your opponent's monsters. Lastly, I run 3 Emperor. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 2 copies of Mimighoul Throne. So Mimighoul Throne, you can detach 1 material from this card to special summon Mimighoul Master from your hand, deck, or grave. Then during the main phase, quick effect, if you target Mimighoul monster you control, equip this card to it as an equip spell. Then you can return cards from the field to the hand up to the number of materials this card had. So most upside it's pretty much going to be bouncing 1 card, so it just comes like a compulse in a way. But getting that master out is really crucial, so you always want to make that. Now next is a card that I don't have, or unfortunately is 1 card I am missing, and that's the Giant Mimighoul. So Giant Mimighoul, when it's XYZ summoned, you can add 1 Mimighoul card from your deck to your hand. Then you can detach 1 material from this card to target cards on the field up to the number of face down monsters your opponent controls. Destroy them, and if you do, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent just for each destroyed. So this does have burn option, so if you're going into time, then this is really going to do a lot of damage to your opponent, and it's basically going to make you win the game. Next, I run the 1 assembled Nightingale, Countered, and Zeus. Since they're all level 1s, having that Nightingale to Zeus play is definitely going to be really good. I know most people don't run this, and this is kind of more of a flex spot in this profile. I do run 1 of the Fusion Necrocrypt Princess. So one thing I noticed with Throne, once it gets attached to the master and the effect goes off, it's not really going to do a much more. So having the Necrocrypt Princess is nice. Also run the 1 Anima, as well as 1 SP and the 1 IP. Both very solid in this deck, and especially if you're going to be linking away monsters that you took from your opponent. Also got the Nightmare Phoenix, Unicorn, and Axis Code as a way to close games out. And you also have Underworld Goddess of the Closed Worlds. That's it for my Mimighoul deck. Let me know, what do you think of Mimighoul? Do you think it's a pretty fun archetype? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.